Imagine a kid playing a video game during a massive business meeting. He is pitching his company to some of the wealthiest, most powerful investors on the entire planet. And while they are asking him serious questions about the future of global finance, he is furiously clicking his mouse, playing a fantasy battle game on his other screen. The investors do not care. In fact, they love it. They think he is a misunderstood genius. They hand him hundreds of millions of dollars. Within a few years, this scruffy 20-something is worth $32 billion. He is hanging out with supermodels, paying for stadium naming rights, and hanging out with former presidents. People are calling him the next Warren Buffett, the savior of the modern financial system. His name was Sam Bankman-Fried, and his company was called FTX. It was supposed to be the safest place on earth to buy and sell digital money. But in reality, it was the site of one of the largest, most unbelievable financial disappearing acts in human history. To understand how $32 billion vanished into thin air, you have to understand what a digital exchange is actually supposed to do. Imagine a giant, incredibly secure hotel safe. You walk up to the front desk, hand the clerk your hard-earned cash, and tell them you want to buy some digital gold. The clerk takes your money, buys the gold, puts it in a little lockbox with your name on it, and slides it into the giant safe. If you ever want your money back, or if you want to sell your digital gold to someone else, the clerk just opens the safe and handles the trade. For providing this incredibly safe, boring service, the hotel charges a tiny little fee. It is a brilliant, totally safe business model, as long as you never ever open those lockboxes and take the customer's money. But Sam didn't just own a hotel. He also had a best friend named Alameda. And Alameda was a hopeless gambling addict. Alameda Research was Sam's other company. While FTX was supposed to be the safe, boring hotel holding everyone's money, Alameda was a high-speed, high-stakes gambling ring. They placed massive, incredibly risky bets on digital coins, hoping to get rich quick. And at first, they were winning. They were making so much money that people thought Sam had a magical formula for beating the market. But eventually, the luck ran out. The market took a dip, and Alameda started losing. They were losing hundreds of millions of dollars. The gambling addict was totally broke and owed money to some very dangerous people. Alameda needed cash, immediately, or the whole game was over. Now, a normal person would accept defeat and close down the gambling company. But Sam did something different. He looked at the giant, secure hotel safe filled with billions of dollars of his customers' money. He quietly unlocked the back door of the safe, scooped up giant piles of cash that did not belong to him, and handed it all to his gambling-addicted friend, Alameda. He told himself it was just a loan, a temporary fix. But there was a massive problem. To hide the fact that he was stealing billions of dollars from his own customers, Sam needed to replace the missing cash in the safe with something else. Something that looked valuable on paper, so the accountants wouldn't ask questions. So, Sam did what any rational person would do. He grabbed a piece of paper, drew a smiley face on it, and declared that the paper was worth $10 billion. He called this made-up money the FTT token. Sam literally invented a new digital coin out of thin air. He kept almost all of these coins for himself, but he released a tiny handful of them into the public market. Because only a few were available, people bought them, pushing the price up. Let's say the public price of one single FTT coin reached $50. Sam then looked at the millions of coins he was hiding in his basement and said, "Wow, if one coin is worth $50, and I have a billion coins, I must be worth $50 billion. It was pure monopoly money. It only had value because Sam said it did. But he took this monopoly money, put it into the giant hotel safe, and used it as a replacement for the real, hard-earned cash he had secretly given to Alameda to gamble away. For a while, the illusion worked flawlessly. The entire world bought into the hype. FTX was buying Super Bowl commercials featuring the biggest movie stars and athletes on Earth. They were telling the public, "We are the safest, most regulated place to put your money." Millions of regular people, teachers, nurses, and small business owners trusted them. They deposited their life savings into FTX, completely unaware that their money was immediately being shoved out the back door to cover massive gambling debts, replaced only by digital monopoly money. Sam was on the cover of magazines. He was testifying before the government, advising lawmakers on how to create rules to make the financial system safer. He promised to give all his money away to charity. He was the golden boy, the emperor of a brand new financial world. But the entire empire was built on a foundation of completely fake money. And all it took was one nosy reporter to look through a window and notice that the emperor wasn't wearing any clothes. In late 2022, a financial news website managed to get their hands on a secret document. It was the private balance sheet for Alameda, the gambling company. A balance sheet is just a list of everything a company owns and everything a company owes. When financial experts looked at this leaked document, their jaws hit the floor. Everyone assumed Alameda was incredibly successful, holding billions of dollars in cash and rock-solid investments. Instead, the document revealed a terrifying truth. Almost all of Alameda's supposed wealth was made up of FTT tokens. The monopoly money. The secret was out. The foundation was fake. But it was still just a leak on a news website. Most regular people didn't read it, and those who did weren't sure what it meant yet. Sam quickly hopped on the internet and promised everyone that everything was fine. He said the company had plenty of real cash and that customer funds were perfectly safe. But there was one person watching who knew exactly what that leaked document meant. His name was Chongping Zhao, but everyone called him CZ. And CZ happened to run the only digital exchange in the world that was bigger than FTX. He was Sam's biggest rival. CZ held a massive pile of Sam's FTT monopoly money. And when CZ saw the leaked document, he realized the entire FTX empire was a house of cards. So, he opened his phone and sent a single, simple message to his millions of followers. He announced that his company was going to sell all of their FTT tokens. That one message was the equivalent of yelling, "Fire!" in a crowded movie theater. Panic erupted instantly. If the biggest player in the game was dumping the monopoly money, everyone else needed to get out, too. The price of the FTT token began to plummet like a rock. Suddenly, the millions of regular people who had put their life savings into the FTX hotel safe realized they might be in danger. They all rushed to the front desk at exactly the same time, demanding their money back. In the financial world, this is called a bank run. And it is the most terrifying thing that can happen to any financial institution. Customers were asking for billions of dollars a day. At first, the clerk at the front desk was handing out cash. But behind the scenes, Sam was sweating. He knew the horrifying truth. The vault was empty. The money wasn't there. It had been gambled away by Alameda months ago, replaced by the very monopoly money that was currently crashing to zero. Within a matter of hours, the hotel doors were locked. Withdrawals were paused. A cold, dark reality washed over millions of people around the world. Their money was gone. In less than a week, a $32 billion empire evaporated into absolute nothingness. The golden boy went from being the toast of the town to a global pariah. But the wildest part of the story wasn't the crash itself. It was what investigators found when they finally kicked down the doors to see how the company was actually run. When a giant, multi-billion-dollar company collapses, the courts send in a specialist to clean up the mess. They brought in a man named John Ray. This is a guy whose entire career is stepping into the worst corporate disasters in history. He was the man who cleaned up the massive Enron scandal in the early 2000s. He had seen the absolute worst of corporate greed and deception. But when John Ray looked inside FTX, he was left entirely speechless. He stated on the official court record that in his entire career, he had never seen such a complete failure of business controls. There was no accounting department. There was no list of bank accounts. There wasn't even a complete list of who worked at the company. If an employee wanted to spend a few $1 million on a house in the Bahamas, they didn't fill out paperwork. They just sent a message in an internet chat room, and a manager would approve the multi-million-dollar purchase by replying with a simple smiley face emoji. They were using software designed for small mom-and-pop shops to track billions of dollars. They kept passwords to critical financial systems on unencrypted, shared documents. It was a multi-billion-dollar piggy bank run by kids playing a video game. The story of FTX isn't really a story about complex digital technology or futuristic financial engineering. Underneath the fancy terminology and the Super Bowl commercials, it was the oldest, simplest trick in the book. It was taking money that didn't belong to you, handing it to your friends, and lying about it. Sam Bankman-Fried was eventually arrested in his luxury penthouse in the Bahamas. The scruffy kid who played video games during pitch meetings ended up wearing a suit in a federal courtroom, where a jury found him guilty of massive fraud. In the end, the illusion was completely shattered. The $32 billion video game was finally over, but for the millions of people who lost their life savings, there was no reset button.